here's homework help for number 6.3b, number 87, on the two tugboats. Two tugboats are towing a loaded barge, and the magnitude of the resultant is 6,000 pounds directed along the axis of the barge. Find the tension in pounds in the tow lines when they make an 18-degree angle with the axis of the barge. So we can think of this as our axis. If we make the center here our origin, just to kind of help us with our angles here on the ordered coordinate plane. Let's call the tow line 1, let's call that vector u, and we're going to say we're looking for the magnitude of u. And so this is the second tow line, or the second tugboat. We will use vector v, and so we're looking for the magnitude of v. So if they're both at the same angle, we can say that the magnitude of u should equal the magnitude of v, as they're both towing the loaded barge. The angles we do know, so for the first tow line it is 18 degrees, positive 18 degrees, and for the bottom tugboat that is negative 18 degrees. Now we also have our barge here, and so it said it was 6,000 pounds, so the magnitude, so I'm going to call this W, so the magnitude of W of this barge is 6,000, and it is really moving this direction, so we can call that theta if it's on our coordinate plane, so starting from the positive x-axis going around, then this theta would be 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and write an equation for each of our vectors we have here. So we have a vector u, vector v, and vector w. So we'll say tow line 1 is vector u. So u is the magnitude of u times cosine of 18 degrees I plus the magnitude of u sine of 18 degrees j. Tow line 2 is vector v. V is the magnitude of v, cosine of negative 18 degrees I, plus the magnitude of v, sine of negative 18 degrees j. Last, let's write our barge, so I'm going to just call that weight / barge. And so that is W equals the magnitude of W. We do know the magnitude of W is 6,000. So 6,000 cosine of 180 degrees I plus 6,000 sine of 180 degrees j. So we can go ahead and simplify this a little bit. I can write it in component form. So cosine of 180 degrees is negative 1. So I can say that this is negative 6,000. And sine of 180 degrees is 0. So negative 6,000, comma 0. So let's write our horizontal component. So all of our cosines are our i's. So horizontal, we'll write our horizontal equation. So this is the magnitude of u cosine of 18 degrees plus the magnitude of v cosine of negative 18 degrees. And then our last one is this value here, which is negative 6,000, and we'll set it equal to 0. So we'll go ahead and just say that we're just pausing this in one moment in time, and so we have vector u plus vector v plus vector w equals 0. So let's write our vertical equation, all our signs together. So this is going to be the magnitude of u sine of 18 degrees plus the magnitude of v sine of negative 18 degrees plus 0, which is a 0 here, equals 0. Now just working with our vertical, we have u sine of 18 plus magnitude of v sine of negative 18 plus 0 equals 0. And let's go ahead and evaluate what sine of 18 is. So the magnitude of u, if you plug in sine of 18 degrees in your calculator, you get 0.3090 plus the magnitude of v. You would get the same exact answer, except that it would be negative, right? So if sine's positive in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2, it's the same angle but negative. So we would get negative 0.3090. So I just distributed that negative to the front, and this equals 0. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add this magnitude of v onto the other side. So we have magnitude of u, 0.3090 equals magnitude of v, 0.3090. So why I did this is because I want you to see when I divide by that 0.3090, we are left with the magnitude of u equals the magnitude of v. So what we could do with that is we could go ahead and substitute that into our horizontal. So the magnitude of u, cosine of 18 degrees, plus, and then so u equals v, magnitude of u equals the magnitude of v, so the magnitude of u, and that's cosine of negative 18 degrees. I'll go ahead and add 6,000 to both sides here. So equals 6,000. So if we plugged in cosine of 18 degrees into our calculator, we would get the magnitude of u is 0.9511 plus the magnitude of u. Cosine of negative 18 degrees is going to be the same exact answer because in quadrant 1 it is cosine is positive. In quadrant 4 cosine is still positive, and since they're the same angle, then it is still 0.9511. That equals 6,000. So let's go ahead and combine those like terms. So then magnitude of u times 1.902 equals 6,000. Isolate u, or magnitude of u. And so the magnitude of u would be 3,154.39 pounds for each tone line. I hope this helps, and thanks for watching.